You know, we're used to seeing the same 10 or 15 schools every year in college football compete for the national championship. Are those schools going to get the lion's share of the sponsorship revenue, or is a significant amount also going to flow down to, say, you know, the 30 or 40 schools below them that really never vie for a national championship? Because football, let's face it, is the key revenue driver in college sports. I mean, I think it's about 60 or 70% of all revenue that goes into the universities comes from football.
Right. That's very fair. I think it's twofold. I think one, I think the teams that always are more successful by definition are probably going to do well. At the same token, schools that are in certain markets that through this enhanced activation or enhanced effort are going to benefit. Say like a Cal Berkeley. You know, San Francisco is an important market for an advertiser. It's a top 10 market in the United States. So when I'm looking at 49 to 50 markets, I probably maybe had not thought about Cal Berkeley. But now, guess what? Cal Berkeley's, you know, a pretty important market. So I do think that this will benefit the vast majority of schools, and some schools, based on the market that they're in or how the conference or their team's performance, obviously it's going to help. But the market, I think, as time goes on, is going to be important.
The Miller Coors deal that you recently signed is being touted by industry sources as being very important for IMG College. How did you make that deal work, and what is it offering for college sports?
Well, first, the message of social responsibility is very important to Miller Coors, and so everything they want to do is about drinking responsibly. They have had deals in place before. I think they see this as a market for growth, so we've been able to work with them to add a number of schools and probably more schools, you know, going forward. So again, what I think's news there is somebody looking at this market in a different way and really seeing the value in the market that maybe others hadn't seen before. And you know, they're sophisticated, right? There's no fooling Miller Coors. You know, UPS is a global brand. These are sophisticated companies now that are seeing the marketplace, seeing the value, and making the investments.
When you talk to potential sponsors and potentially trying to bring in some new categories, what deal or deals would you point to and say, look, we know how to tie in all the various platforms and ways that you can leverage your brand through college sports, whether it be hospitality or branding or licensing or multimedia? You know, what's sort of like the blue chip deal that you look at right now?
Today, because we got into college sports in May of '07 and really have made 4 acquisitions, the last of which being last fall. So we're very much a work in progress here. But the one that you have to point to is UPS. I mean, UPS is a global brand. They're a sophisticated marketer, and I think when they saw the opportunity in business to business in terms of, you know, small business operators in Alabama and Nebraska and Tennessee and Texas, you know, those universities, they mean something to those small business operators. So if you want to reach a small business owner, remember 29 million people that earn over 100,000, you want to be relevant to people that make business decisions. I think that UPS saw that relationship as very important. And then the ability to reach consumers, right? So now it's not just a business-to-business tool in terms of tickets, hospitality. It's also a way to reach consumers in terms of the avidity a consumer might have to their university. And then the last component of it with, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of associates, you know, they need something that their employee base can rally around. So when you think about checking the boxes, one, employees, yes. Small business owners, yes. Consumers, yes. And then also just general advertising and marketing. It really checks all the boxes. And then I'm sure they did their value. You know, what does it cost? What do I get? And how does that compare to something else? And I know that was a very good comparison.
To explain to him the potential in college sports marketing, what was it that got him the most excited, that convinced him that there was a lot of money to be made here?
I think it was the segment, right? When we looked at the demographics and we looked at the size that actually there were only 5 or 6, you know, sponsored categories, that there was an opportunity for growth. So I think what I've learned, many things from Ted, but the thing I've learned most is spend your times on things that can grow and that you can build. And so we made the case that we felt that we could build a compelling business in college sports and service a need that existed for the universities. I mean, I've said this last week. I mean, 14 or so, there are 300 Division I schools, only 14 of them run their athletic department for profit, are profitable. So, the schools have a need for funding, and this money goes, so we're serving a need, and we're creating value for the schools. And so we saw this as a growth market, and one of the great things about TED is to support this. And when you think about it, as I said, it's really 4 acquisitions. To go to TED 4 times and to get the support for 4 acquisitions, speaks for his belief in it, and also I think kind of validates the concept, because Ted's success in business really speaks for itself.
Well, roughly $300 million in acquisitions to take IMG College where it is today. Revenues about $450 million. So it would seem that on a return on investment, your enthusiasm has been justified. Is this something that he's expressed to you?
I'm here 6 years and I'm still employed, so that's a good answer. Yes, I think Ted's very pleased with this, and obviously we could have never done this without his leadership and vision. And when Ted Forsman showed up and met Bill Battle and met Ben Sutton, I think they'd tell you that they would not have sold these companies if it were not for Ted. So no question, his faith and support and his track record of success of places like Gulfstream and Dr. Pepper and Yankee Candle, speak for themselves. And, we would not be here today if it wasn't for his support and his help in making all this happen.
How big is the college sports sponsorship market now? I'm including everything, we've discussed in that market, roughly speaking, and how big do you think it could be in 5 years? How much is still untapped?
Well, I think really because the companies we bought were fragmented, they weren't able to the colleges were not able to take advantage of the market. And so I think you have, from a television media standpoint, you have a robust market. But on the sponsorship side, because the product wasn't out there, I think it has enormous growth potential. How to quantify that, off the top of my head, I can't quantify it for you, but it's significant.
I mean, you think
it almost was non-existent. So the way I look at it is when I look at the NFL, the league and the teams, right, the NBA, the league and the teams, baseball, the league and the teams, hockey, the league and the teams, I see the number of sponsors at the teams and the leagues and what they pay, and I see the same for college. There's a wide disparity, and there is no disparity in terms of the size and scale of college and the demographics. And so that's the gap we're going to work hard to close in the confines of doing a fine job representing the universities.
You've recently purchased a company that makes seat cushions for college games. Do you think we may see more acquisitions sort of outside what has been your traditional market?
Yes, I think really, we're kind of drinking water out of a hose, and this is really, to me, probably about a 5 to 7 year endeavor to get this kind of a up and going as a well-oiled machine, which, by the way, is a lot of fun. So I think, today it's ticketing and seat backs, and tomorrow will be something else. So I really think the fun will be in trying to build some of these other ancillary businesses that don't exist today. They're not all going to work like the PSLs, but they are. You're not going to go over, right? And so I think for us, we'll see a lot of that kind of creativity and ingenuity that really only IMG can bring. Remember, we do business in 30 countries with 70 sports federations, and we can now deploy best practices to the universities from our global expertise. I mean, one of the interesting things here that Ted really brought to the table is you have Ted and you have IMG, so you'll be able to apply all that, to the market.
Now, as I understand it, football was always big in the Pyne family. But did you feel sort of added pressure to make it big in college sports? Because I understand it, you were the first George Pyne in your family not to be recruited by a professional football team.
That's right. I mean, my dad was a 300-pound lineman for the Patriots. My grandfather played for the Providence Steamrollers in 1932. My brother Jim played 9 years in the NFL. My other brother Dave was a captain at Lafayette. And believe it or not, I was the smallest man in my family by 70 or so pounds. And so, and I'm the oldest, so they used to pick on me when I walked through the door. And playing football at Brown, to them, really didn't qualify as football. But nevertheless, college sports was great to me. It was a great experience and really helped me become who I am today.